I'm Troy Kirby with a quick look at the 2022 Washington State Legislative Session. The 2022 Washington State Legislature tackled the controversial subject of banning high-capacity magazines for weapons in Engrossed Substitute Senate Bill 5078. The Senate took up the debate on February 9th.
On July 30th, 2016, my community was changed forever by a preventable tragedy. We lost three beautiful young lives: Jordan Ebner, Jake Long, and Anna Bowie. Will Kramer was seriously injured, but survived, and dozens of young people went through something no person should ever have to experience. These young people deserved many more tomorrows, and they didn't get them in a heinous act of violence. The only reason other young people were able to get to safety that night was because the mass shooter needed to reload his weapon. Madam President, high-capacity magazines make it easy for shooters to inflict maximum damage by allowing more shots to be fired without needing to pause to reload.
This is a serious bill that will jeopardize the safety of Washingtonians. This is not about providing safety for children. This is putting in jeopardy the lives of law-abiding citizens.
You know, the reality is that the U.S. leads the world in annual gun deaths. We are by ourselves in that category. The Ninth Circuit has recognized that shooters who use large capacity magazines cause significantly more deaths and injuries than shooters who are equipped with magazines of smaller capacity. We need to wake up to what's going on.
I don't understand why we accept this in America. I just don't. I respect my colleagues on the other side. I know how passionately they feel. I feel just as passionately on this side.
The Senate passed the bill on February 9th by a vote of 28-20. The bill was then heard in the House on March 4th.
Madam Speaker, on occasion, over the last several weeks, we've had the opportunity to discuss firearms and also the defensive force that many in our community have raised concerns over.
It was a Friday night in July in 2016 in the 21st District, beautiful night as we have here in the Pacific Northwest that time of year. And a young man was sitting in his car for about 2 hours just outside of a house party where a bunch of his high school classmates were having a great time. He was sitting in that car and he was reading. He was reading the manual for a gun he had just purchased. And he had just gone up to the sporting goods store not too far from where this party was and purchased a 30-round clip for this gun. He was upset. He was clearly having some problems. And he went into that party, and within 1 minute, 27 shots were fired.
Here's what's a matter of fact. A 30-round magazine is standard equipment with several common models of semi-automatic rifle.
My neighbors are concerned that pieces of this bill are not going to address the fact that we have stockpiles of guns and ammunition already in this state. And they want to know that in the face of police violence, which is also gun violence, and other types of white supremacy and other types of violence that we see happening, that they can protect themselves. I did a review. Currently, there are 9 states out of 50, as well as the District of Columbia, that has a law in the books with considerations of large capacity ammunition. And this law is different from every one of those laws. And in fact, Speaker, every one of those laws is also different from each other. This is not a place where there is uniformity in any state or jurisdiction about how this is applied, because in the United States, every state, we have a tapestry of what local gun policy looks like.
This is not a narrow amendment. This is an amendment that strikes at the heart of this bill to limit high-capacity magazines that are best used in mass shootings so the shooter doesn't have to reload.
I have good news for my friend in the 20th District, and that is that this bill does allow for the transfer of firearms to family members. We have used broad terms here, and that includes gifts or loans of firearms or ammunition to those family members that he referred to.
We see this often, Madam Speaker, with poorly drafted legislation, where language is overbroad, and in our discussion of the overbroad language, we're told, well, that's not what it means, that's an interpretation, it won't be used that way by law enforcement, other things like this. But the truth is, Madam Speaker, that the language in the underlying bill is overbroad, and this amendment necessarily clarifies the overbroad language.
The bill passed the House on March 4th by a vote of 55-42. The bill was then signed into law on March 23rd.
We're here today because we know the scourge of gun violence is upon our state. Suicide, mass shootings, domestic violence now take the lives of over 780 Washingtonians every single year. And amongst our young people, our young Washingtonians, it is the leading cause of death, which is obviously a huge tragedy. Since then, states that have adopted laws banning large capacity magazines have been able to save lives. Of the 47 mass shootings in this country from 2005 to 2017, 39 occurred in states without a large capacity magazine ban law.
Thank you for watching the 2022 Washington State Legislative Session.